It was our weekly D&D session. Greta, Johnny, Zach, and I had been best friends on campus, but our jobs put us all over the country. This D&D campaign, meeting up every Saturday afternoon on a video call, made us feel a little closer. It was the highlight of my week, but not this time. Because about 15 minutes in, motion caught my eye. Behind Greta, out on the sidewalk, a man was walking by. People walked by all the time. Her apartment faced a busy street, but this man looked different. He was wearing mostly black and walked with a strange limp as he made his way past her window. And something almost looked familiar about him. I clicked on Greta's image, maximizing her video feed, but he was too far away, and the resolution was too low to see his face, and then he was gone. Weird.
Allison? What did you roll?
My attention snapped back to the game. Huh? Sorry, it's a 3. As Greta described an epic failure, where my rogue's bow malfunctioned and hit her square in the face. I aimlessly stared at Zach's video feed. He looks good. We dated for a few months way back when, but things didn't work out. Maybe they could work out now, but long distance, it would be difficult. Besides, I wasn't really ready for a relationship right now. I was 6 months sober, trying to get my life on track, trying to forget the shit show that was senior year. And then another flash of motion caught my eye. Behind Johnny. Johnny was sitting at the local Starbucks, loudly slurping a caramel macchiato through his straw. Behind him, people walked to and fro, a mother with a crying little girl, 2 teenage boys shoving each other and laughing. But that's not what caught my eye. Behind them, in the parking lot, was a tall man dressed in black. Huh? I clicked on Johnny's feed and leaned into the screen. Again, the resolution's too low to make out his face, but he seemed to be wearing the same bowler hat, the same long black jacket. Has to be a coincidence. Greta lived in Oklahoma, hundreds of miles away from Johnny. It couldn't be the same guy. There's no way.
Roll for damage, Allison.
I grabbed the D20 off my desk. When I looked back at Johnny's screen, the man was gone. I shook my head. Just a coincidence. I sucked in a breath as the die clattered against the wood. 18. I said, looking back at the screen.
Nice.
Zach said sarcastically. My eyes snapped to his screen. He was sitting in his usual spot, on the moldy green couch in the living room. For a second, I imagined myself sitting next to him, snuggled up against his shoulder. His face was in the shadow now, as sunlight streamed through the gauzy curtains behind him. But I could still make out his bright blue eyes, the curves of his rugged jaw. Maybe I should take my chances. I know I have a lot of emotional baggage, a lot of things to work on, but maybe we could work on them together? Maybe... I froze. Movement behind the curtains. A silhouette walking by. A silhouette with a limp. My blood ran cold. No. There's no way. The shadow passed, disappearing behind the edge of the window. Guys? I started, my voice wavering. Did any of you see that That guy? With the bowler hat and the limp. Greta's eyebrows furrowed. And then she said something that froze every muscle in my body.
You mean the guy that's standing right outside your window?
I whipped around, then ran over to the window. I thought I saw a flash of movement, a sweep of black, but it was only for an instant. Or was it my imagination? The grass rippled in the wind and the pine trees swayed, but the sidewalk and the street were empty. I saw him in each of your videos, I stammered. Wearing all black, right? With the hat and the long jacket and the...
I only saw him in your video. You're saying you saw that guy in our videos?
I nodded. But the confused mutters from the other players told me they didn't see him. Only Greta had seen him walk by. Behind me! I bit my lip, my hands frozen on the keyboard.
Weird coincidence, but a lot of people wear black coats, and a lot of bald guys wear hats.
But he was limping too!
Glitch in the Matrix kind of thing, then?
Zach replied, shrugging.
I don't know. Can we resume playing, though?
Greta started up again. I leaned back in my chair, sighing. I tried to forget about the man, though, and put all my focus on the game. For about an hour, everything was fine. And then I saw it. At the very edge of Greta's screen, just barely poking out from behind the window frame, was the man. All I could see was a sleeve, half of one of his legs, and a shiny black shoe. How long has he been standing there? Greta, he's right outside your window! I nearly shouted. Greta paused for a second, and then she got up, went over to the window, and peered out.
I don't see anyone,
she said finally, sitting back down. But the instant she sat back down, he stepped out into frame. He limped out into view onto the sidewalk. I still couldn't see his face, but I could tell that his head was turned as if he were looking into Greta's window. He made his way down the sidewalk and disappeared, and stepped into Johnny's video. His strides didn't even break. It was like he just seamlessly walked from one video feed to the next. He walked down the sidewalk outside the Starbucks, his head still turned as if staring in at Johnny, and then his shadow appeared behind the gauzy curtains at Zach's. He appeared to slow down like he was taking his time, staring in at Zach through the translucent curtains. His halting, limping steps jerked his whole body as he made his way across. And then he walked out of view. And I knew it was my turn. I jumped out of my chair and ran to the window. Half of me expected to see nothing, just an empty street and sidewalk. But no, it wasn't empty. In the darkening dusk, I could see the man, standing on the other side of the street, eyes hidden in the shadows beneath his bowler hat. My blood turned to ice. I stood there, frozen at the window. We stared at each other for a few seconds, and then he lifted his hand and curled his index finger, beckoning me. I backed away from the window, my legs trembling beneath me. There was no way this could even happen. whoever that man wasn't real, because there was no way he could instantly be in Oklahoma and then Ohio and then New York. My legs hit the chair. I turned around, away from the window, back to my friends, except they were not there. Each video feed was malfunctioning, a jumble of pixelated shapes lagging and jumping and twisting together. Greta? Johnny? Zach? I shouted. Only a distorted series of clicks answered me. I turned back to the window. The man was closer now, standing in the middle of the street. I wrenched the window open. "Hey, get out of here!" I shouted, trying to hide the fear in my voice. I'm calling the cops. I ran around the house, making sure every door was locked, and then I went up to my room and locked the door, hid myself in the blankets, and began to sob. But I didn't call the cops, because I finally knew why he looked familiar. The senior year, the party. The four of us piled in the car. My car. "I feel fine," I said, waving off any concern about me driving drunk. But I was drunk, just not totally blackout drunk, like the other three. I was the only one who seen the man walk out into the crosswalk. The tall man, dressed in black, which camouflaged him in the night. But I didn't see him soon enough. The brakes screeched underneath me, but it was too late. Sickening thought. The bowler hat went flying off into the darkness.
What was that?
Greta slurred from the back seat as Zach puked and Johnny drifted in and out of sleep. Nothing, I replied before gutting it and tearing out onto the highway. I pulled the blankets tighter around me and prayed for him to leave. But even now, I can hear something above me, coming from the attic. The footsteps of a limping man. I'm not sure I'm gonna survive tonight. I'm writing this so at least somebody knows what happened if I don't make it. I'm sorry.